Okay, the last few weeks have been a huge deal in terms of trade, especially for us here in the UK. First off, we had a trade deal signed between us and India, and then more recently, Brexit got a reboot, with Prime Minister Keir Starmer referring to it as a Brexit reset. But me personally, I like to refer to it as the Brexit. Think about it, right? Whether you're a Remainer or a Brexiteer, this is clearly going to be the better deal, with food prices set to come down, more touring opportunities for musicians or comedians, and then passengers at airports will finally be able to queue up in the EU passport lines. So just by adding a "the" at the beginning of something, instantly makes it better. Listen, people have been intensely debating for years why Incredibles 2 wasn't as good as the first one, and I will give you the official answer on this video today. It's because it wasn't called The Incredibles 2. It would have been a 6 out of 5 star movie if it was called that. But the trade deal I want to pay attention to now is the trade deal signed between the UK and the US. A trade deal which has managed to cancel all tariffs on steel and aluminum and reduce tariffs on cars from 25% to 10%. So whilst we still have tariffs in other areas, are things finally starting to look better? No. No. And I'll be honest, whilst we've seen some tariffs come down in the UK, and we've seen even similar happen in China with the honey monsters slashing tariffs on some Chinese products, I still have to disagree that things are starting to look better in terms of the honey monsters tariffs. Just only recently, it was reported that a majority of US companies are going to have to raise their prices because of these tariffs, and economies in the European Union are set to downgrade, and that was before the honey monster raised their tariffs to 50%. But man, in the last week, I've been really worried about this.
Now, President Donald Trump is threatening to impose a 100% tariff on films produced outside the US. He says the issue poses a national security threat. In a post on his Truth Social platform, Trump wrote that he had authorized the US Trade Representative to begin the process of taxing, quote, any and all movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands.
For f***'s sake, he has an issue with everything, doesn't he? He's like Mary off Gogglebox. She'll be there sitting in her armchair like, "Oh, Giles, it really does annoy me when you do this." What are you talking about, Mary? You don't like anything he f***ing does. "Oh, Giles, it really does annoy me when you put your f***ing seatbelt on." For goodness sake, Mary, give the man a break. But that's right. The honey monsters clearly decided to go even further with his tariffs by imposing a 100% tariff on all films filmed outside the US. So for the rest of this video, let's break down why the honey monster is imposing these tariffs and the impact these tariffs are going to have. And to do that, we need to go all the way back to February 2020, where a pandemic didn't seem likely, the UK just left the European Union, and my idea of flirting over text was by sending a couple of spicy bitmojis. Whoa, f***ing hell, take a step back, he's using the bitmojis! But February 2020 was also the time where Parasite won the Oscar for Best Picture, and of course with Parasite being a South Korean film, the honey monster had a lot to say about it.
How bad were the Academy Awards this year? Did you see it? And the winner is a movie from South Korea. What the hell was that all about? We got enough problems with South Korea with trade. On top of it, they give him the best movie of the year. Was it good? I don't know. You know, I'm looking for like, where let's get Gone with the Wind. Can we get like Gone with the Wind back, please?
Ah yes, Gone with the Wind, that film that came out in 1939. Why did that not win Best Picture in 2020? But that clip you just saw there almost now serves as a teaser for what was to come in the honey monster's second term as president. Because the honey monster has spoken a fair amount this year about bringing back the golden age of Hollywood, and what he believes to be the golden age of Hollywood is the era when films like Gone with the Wind came out. And look, I myself actually do believe there are a number of issues with today's age of Hollywood. For example, we tend to see less original films now in cinemas. But criticizing an original film like Parasite for not being American is the complete wrong way of looking at it. Like, have you ever seen those Letterboxd top 4 videos where it's just celebrities listing off their 4 favourite films, and it's usually just artsy indies, foreign thrillers, and the occasional Scooby-Doo too? Yeah, okay, now imagine the honey monster's top 4. It would be, this horribly dated movie, that horribly dated movie, some other horribly dated movie, and Bad Girls at Play, starring Stormy Daniels. The kind of top 4 that reeks of Boris Johnson's bedsheets. But of course, another issue here is that the Honey Monster isn't just coming after films that aren't American, he's also coming after films that are American but just weren't shot in America. Here's an example. The Batman is an American film, but was filmed in the UK. And the Batman's production budget was $200 million, and usually the marketing for a movie like that would cost another $100 million, meaning that the overall cost would be $300 million. And for it to not be a flop at the box office, the Batman needed to make $600 million, and luckily the film made nearly $800 million. But now if we do bring over that 100% tariff into the mix, we've got the Batman's production budget being $200 million, and that tariff would double that budget to $400 million. Then when you add the marketing cost of $100 million, you've got an overall cost of $500 million. So that would mean that the Batman would have to make $1 billion at the box office. And since it only made less than $800 million, the Batman with this tariff in place would be considered a fairly big flop. And yes, adding a "the" at the beginning of the title didn't really save it. Now you may ask though, is there a way to dodge these tariffs? And well, yes, but it would mean that these films do not show in America, which isn't as simple as it sounds. Because last year alone, a third of the worldwide box office gross was solely due to America itself. Which would mean that if these films didn't show in America, they would miss out on a lot of money. Plus, not only is this going to impact jobs in the film industry, but it's also going to impact jobs in many cinemas. And if it wasn't obvious enough, cinemas have really struggled in the last few years. Not only are they having to deal with teenagers who can't shut up, situationships dry humping during Oppenheimer, but they also had to survive a pandemic. And these tariffs could sway more studios into releasing their films on streaming services, which would mean less business for cinemas. Or just like how we spoke about earlier with US companies raising their prices because of these tariffs, we could see the same in cinemas with them raising the price for their tickets. And if they still struggle to make profit, it could then force cinemas to raise the price of popcorn or other snacks. And at that rate, asking your date to split the bill on a small popcorn will feel like the start of a fucking Safdie Brothers movie.